Toyota has just debuted its second generation tiny compact crossover, the CHR, for Europe and other parts of the world. So let's get into it. I mentioned for Europe because this car is designed and engineered and built in Europe for European customers. However, Australia is getting their piece of it as well. I don't think they're getting the plug-in hybrid. They're just getting the 1.8 and the 2.0 liter hybrid setups that are essentially carried over from the Prius. We'll talk about those in a little bit. They're calling this a concept car on the road, and we'll break down the looks on the exterior and the interior after I go over all the bullet points. They're also calling this a super coupe, or giving it a super coupe profile. Up to 20-inch wheels in Europe and 19-inch wheels, it looks like, in Australia. And also for the Australian market, it looks like it's coming in the first half of 2024, but the European press release didn't mention anything on availability, other than it's being built over there in Europe, probably in Turkey. And they're actually building the battery packs over there as well, which I thought was pretty cool. So they're focusing on sustainability with increased use of recycled and animal-free materials. And no surprise, we're using the 5th generation hybrid tech. So you have your option on the base models, front wheel drive, 1.8 liter hybrid, around 140 horsepower. We see this on our Corolla hybrid here in the United States. And you also see it on the Prius, or the old generation Priuses, but it was a 4th generation hybrid system. But you see this in Japan on the new Prius as well. But then you can upgrade to the nearly 200 horsepower 2-liter hybrid system. It can be had in all-wheel drive, which is pretty cool. And then the range-topping model is the 2-liter plug-in hybrid with around 220 horsepower. We get the same powertrain as the Prius Prime here. Now, they get some additional benefits, I guess you could call them benefits, to the CHR plug-in hybrid. They get actually one pedal-like driving features. They call it regeneration boost. There are 3 different settings, but it doesn't look like it actually brings the vehicle to a stop. So I would never ever be using that, because you have to use your brake pedal even if you are using that. Anyways, there's also geofencing on the plug-in hybrid, which automatically switches it into battery electric mode when it enters a low emission zone, which obviously we don't have anything like that in the United States. But if you have a destination in the GPS, it'll actually preserve battery for those LEZ zones, so you're driving in fully electric mode on that part of your journey. Now, interestingly, I thought this is a fun fact. The first generation over in Europe for the CHR was Toyota's best model for conquest sales, so bringing in new customers, largely due to its radical design. And that's why we have a radical design here on the 2nd generation CHR as well. Certain models get the head-up display, but it is also linked to the memory settings, which I thought was pretty cool. You also have digital key for the first time on the CHR, which allows your phone to be the key of the car. You have ambient lighting, 64 colors of ambient lighting, but there's also a circadian program in there, which will switch 24 different shades based off the time of day, which is kind of neat. You have your option between 8 or 12-inch touchscreen. Behind the steering wheel, there's an optional 12-inch fully digital MID. You have remote parking with the user outside of the vehicle. This sort of technology is supposed to come on the Lexus TX and Toyota Grand Highlander, and it never happened, or at least maybe it's half-baked for that size of vehicle, but they have this sort of parking now for the CHR. And now finally, you can have over-the-air safety updates for the CHR. I don't remember this in any other Toyota or Lexus. The only over-the-air updates you can get on a current Toyota or Lexus are going to be for the infotainment, essentially. This is for the safety features to improve them, which is pretty cool. All right, fixed panel roof. I don't know if it's an option or standard, but it's probably an option. I don't imagine that sort of feature being standard. You also have 2 premier special editions here, and one of them is a GR Sport. And it'll add GR styling details, including a G-mesh pattern for the grille, new 20-inch alloy wheels, GR badging, liquid black ornamentation on the center console, and sport front seats with the GR logo embossed on the headrest. Its signature color is precious silver in the new bitone execution that extends the contrast black finish from the roof across the back of the car. Other color options will be available, and the equipment specifications include a head-up display and JBL premium audio system. The second special edition is called the High Premier Edition, has a signature sulfur bitone exterior. Other colors will also be available, and the cabin features perforated leather seats with contrast sulfur stitching and a head-up display and panoramic roof. Interesting that the panoramic roof doesn't seem to be available on the GR Sport model. All right, let's break down the images here. This looks probably to be the High Premier Edition with the perforated leather seats. We got this interesting yellow stitching, which will go with the sulfur exterior. First look of our pano roof here. Hybrid, or you got the Beyond Zero logo on here for the first time on the CHR. There's that sulfur color on the High Premier Edition, and here is the liquid black color on that GR Sport model. I mean, for GR Sport, I don't really like this silver color. It's not that it's a bad color, but this one stands out much more as a sporty color, the sulfur. So I'd rather have this. Hopefully it's available on the GR Sport. Of course, you have the little GR badge on the front bumper as well, like any other GR or GR Sport product. We have the newest adoption of the hammerhead design here for Toyota headlights and front grills. We have quad beam LED headlights here. It looks like maybe this is your low beam and these three would be your upper beams or high beams, which seems pretty cool. With also the dotted daytime running lights. I'm digging the front end, at least the light design. The grill is still a big pill for me to swallow. And you actually have fog lights down here on the GR Sport and this other Premier version. This is also the first model that has ever featured fully recessed door handles on a Toyota. We see that on the Lexus LC500, which I believe was the first Lexus, unless the LFA was, which I don't remember. But yeah, you also get a 360 camera. You can see the camera here on the side of the mirror, which is pretty neat. What do you think of the blacked out back on these Premier editions? It's a lot to take in. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of it. I also don't like the two-tone for the most part that we have on the Crown in America, the Crown crossover, the Crown sedan, depends on what part of the world you're in. This guy really likes looking at a CHR. We've had this overall design since the concept came out about a year ago, and not a whole lot has changed. I guess the placement of this door handle, I guess it was maybe like hidden or maybe not even in the concept, but there it is flush with the rear door. Okay, so different. This guy just appears out of nowhere to check out that CHR. Here's our first look at the digital MID here, which isn't even on most Lexus vehicles yet, which is a 12-inch fully digital. Actually, it's on no Lexus vehicles at this point, I don't think. I think it's only going to be debuting on the new TX and GX here in coming up in less than a year. Also, the large screen here, I'm getting Prius vibes on the interior, but it's nicer than the Prius because look at this suede on the door panel here. I also like these circular vents on each end, which are going to be pretty cool. Well, obviously, we're looking at the GR Sport model, which probably adds the suede on the door and on the suede on the seats because you can see it down here with the stitching on the outside. It looks pretty cool. We got a red enhanced shifter here, heated steering wheel, 360 camera. We do not have ventilated seats on the GR Sport model. Ooh, look at that JBL speaker that has an aluminum grill to it. I can't even think of any JBL speaker in America that has an aluminum grill, so I like that attention to detail. We also have the unique speaker grill cover for the Edge here. I'm not quite sure what the design is. Maybe it's the sort of hexagonal design that we see on the front of the vehicle and the grill. GR Sport logos on the steering wheel, on the seat. EV mode, GR Sport. Okay, this is something that wasn't in the press release. They didn't mention that GR Sport was actually the plug-in hybrid. So that's pretty cool, giving us the most horsepower. It is only front-wheel drive, just like the Toyota Prius plug-in Prime. And we have CHR built into the lights. You don't see CHR as a badge anywhere. It's actually illumination only. Head on over to the Australian page. They give us some dimensions here if you guys want to check it out in terms of length, width, height, etc. It's not going to be much different in size than our current CHR, or really not that much different in size than a Prius. Maybe just a little bit taller with a little bit more ground clearance. And if we look at the tiny iGo X, it just looks like a larger iGo X, which is not a bad thing because I think it's a cute vehicle. Also something we don't get in America. There's no denying the Prius, in my opinion, is a better looking vehicle than the CHR, but I'd like to see it without the two-tone colors because we haven't seen that yet. It's probably going to look a lot better. Instead of the CHR, Toyota's just making the Corolla Cross here in the United States instead of importing it from Japan. It seems to be easier for them. Also, a vehicle I wish we got in the United States, I've made many videos on it, is the Corolla Touring Sports. It's the wagon version of the Corolla. Would be absolutely amazing with the 2-liter hybrid setup. There's their Hilux over there. There's the Prado, which they just call the Land Cruiser. They also have all these work vans, the Pro Ace. In Japan, you also have the High Ace and Grand Ace and other utilitarian vans. So the Yaris and Yaris Cross, which we also don't get in the United States, but we used to. At least we used to get the Yaris. And God bless the GR Yaris. would love to have that in the United States as well. But I'm going to end you guys with some exciting stuff. Stay tuned for this because information is coming out of Japan from Best Car Magazine on the next generation Mazda Miata. So that will be tomorrow's video. But I'll see you guys in the comments below. Smash the like button if you want to see the CHR in America. There's no way it's ever coming back to America. Toyota's completely separated it from our market. But let me know if you would rather have the CHR, the new redesign, over the Corolla Cross. The Corolla Cross is about as generic looking as possible. It's far more practical with the space that it has. But I'd love to see some of the tech that we saw introduced here on the CHR with the larger MID, the bigger touchscreen as well, panel roof, things like that. I'd love to see that hit the Corolla Cross, but those are almost like exclusive Lexus things nowadays. But I got to end it there. I got to shut it down. I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day and peace.